Alright, so let's get into how this whole thing started. Between me and this bitch-ass nigga Duke Faro, right? So you know me, I like to start from the beginning, man? So just follow me, through the story. So I remember I was laying down, so I'm asleep, I'm getting that good sleep, knocked the fuck out. But you know how you sleep and you, can hear, noise in your ear, you sleep, but you get. So my phone's ringing and ringing and ringing and ringing. I'm like, the fuck? So, when I wake up, I open my eyes, I wake up, I'm staring at the ceiling, I notice I ain't home, so I'm like, fuck. And when I look down, Charisma, laying across my chest, butt-ass naked, laying across my chest, of course I'm naked, I'm like, damn. So I'm like, damn, that Charisma house, So I reach over to the dresser and grab my phone. So I'm like, yo, it's Magnificent title on the phone. Magnificent's like, yo. She said, tell me why Flame and Scribble Face, that's what she called Duke Fell. She's like, yo, tell me why Flame and Scribble Face are going back and forth online. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? She was like, yeah. She was like, Flame and Dookie are arguing online and, they beefing and threatening to, fight and kill each other and shit. So I'm like, nah, you bugging. And she was like, I'm telling you, Scribble Face and Flame is beefing right now online. So I'm like, alright, I was like, let me go see what's going on. And I'm gonna hit you back. So she like, alright, cool. So I get off the phone, Magnificent. And I'm strolling online. So at this point, Charisma gets up and walks to go to the bathroom, whatever. So I'm on the phone and I pull it up. And of course I see Duke Fell yelling on the phone. He's screaming about, yo, Flame, you a fake ass nigga. You this and that, beefing about some shit. I don't know. So he's, trying to talk to Flame like he a little kid or something. Like, yo, when I tell you, to do something, just, don't talk back to me. Talk to the Flame like a kid. I'm like, what the fuck? So, next thing you know, I get a notification, Flame is live. So I go over to Flame live. I see Flame, saying, yo, man, saying basically about Duke, like, yo, you ain't gonna be talking to me like a kid, da-da-da-da-da. I held you down, how you gonna, act like that over something so small, basically giving his side of the story, so I basically, I typed to Flame while he live, I'm like, yo, salute, I'm trying to see what's going on, he was like, yo, Tony, salute, he was like, yo, this nigga Duke tripping, da-da-da-da-da. Started telling his story. So once he told his story and got on live, I go back to Duke's live. Duke's still going off, talking about, yeah, this is the problem I got with light-skinned niggas, not to get off story, but for dark-skinned, brown-skinned niggas to be quote-unquote in-style, niggas is real insecure, because I've been hearing that shit all my life from dark-skinned niggas, but there's always a dark-skinned nigga that all light-skinned nigga, nigga, let me tell you something, that shit ain't never stopped no motion, and that shit ain't never stopped me from getting no pussy, you know what I mean? But anyway, so he's going off about light-skinned niggas. So me and Duke always been cool, So I'm like, so I type in the chat, salute, to Duke, To my surprise, Duke flips on me. Now this has never happened to me. I've always held Duke down. Always had respect for Duke, even when his whole city was shitting on him. I'm the one that went to bat for him and held him down, Online, offline, in person, whatever. I always been a nigga to fight for Duke, right? Even when niggas are trying to get at him in his own city, because his stupid motherfucker put out a motherfucking mixtape cover with Mole 3's dead body on it, I'm the one that held him down in the streets, when niggas wanted to pop this nigga fucking head off, So I'm like, salute, Duke. This nigga, he go, oh, nah, Tony, get out of here with all that fake ass shit, and started going off on me. I'm like, whoa. So, I type in the chat, you just a little emotional right now. I'ma let you, calm down, get your shit off. I'll holler at you later. So I think nothing of it. I thinks nothing of it. I get off his line. I get off the phone. By this time, Charisma walks back into the bedroom. You know what I mean? She's naked. She asking me, because it's now in the morning. So she's like, yo, what do you want to eat? And, I put my phone on the dresser. I said, you. And then that's when, Charisma, had the what face. And then that's when Charisma ran, jumped in the bed. I threw Charisma down, started eating that pussy, front to back. Boom, so, knocking it down one last time. So, dog got her legs back, I'm hitting that shit. Hitting it from the back, she's screaming and hollering. Screaming and hollering, screaming and hollering, Boom. The whole time I'm busting down, my phone's still ringing, so I assume, that's, somebody calling me or Magnificent calling me to tell me that Flamin' was still beefing, but shit, I'm not gonna, stop what I'm doing. So I'm like, fuck that song. So me and Charisma fucking like animals, hitting it from the back and pulling her hair, I'm smacking that ass, she's screaming. Got her squirting this shit, Boom. Once I bust off, I'm like, fuck. So I'm like, yo. So I told Charisma, set the shower up so I can get up out of here, right? So Charisma goes, walks to her fat ass switching to go, set up a shower. So I grab my phone, and I'm seeing missed calls from London. I'm like, fuck, man. Like, shit. So I didn't, want to call, London from Charisma house, so I just waited. So got in the shower, got dressed, got up out of there. So as I'm on my way to the spot, Magnificent calls me back. So I'm like, yo, what up? She was like, yeah. She was like, I see Scribble Face, still talking shit about you. I'm like, yeah, you just emotional right now. I'm like, yo, I'll get to Duke in a minute. Right now I'm heading home. And then that's when Magnificent said, oh, she was like, you going home to the Big Back Walrus. I'm like, yo, watch your mouth. Like, that's my girl right there. And then that's when Magnificent like, yeah, whatever. And Magnificent was like, you wasn't saying that when you was digging me out and digging, Peaches out. I'm like, look, I was like, I lust for you and Peaches and 88 and everybody else, but I love London. And then that's when Magnificent bust out like, said, yeah, alright, nigga. And she was like, I hit you back. I'm like, yeah, alright. So when I get home, London's there. And London's like, yo, what's up with your man? Duke talking shit. I'm like, yeah, how Duke is, maybe he didn't take his medicine. And she was like, where was you at? I was like, holding Farago down, getting money. And she just had that look like, And then, that's when, London, was, holding, take my clothes off and shit. Cause, now I gotta act like I've been tired all night. So I'm taking my clothes off. And now, cause London's already, got on, a short t-shirt. And then, and a thong on and shit. So now she wants to get it in. I'm like, and I'm already tired, but I'm like, fuck it. So now me and London going to boom, boom. Now I'm hitting that shit. Boom, boom, boom. But I can't come because I, already busted nuts. So now I'm lasting a long time. Boom, boom, boom. Hitting that shit from the back. Boom, boom, boom. Busting London down. Now she's loving it because, as I'm lasting long, usually, she do certain moves, I bust quick, but not today, so I'm, boom, tearing that ass up, tearing that ass up, tearing that ass up. So, in order for me to come this time, I'm like, yo, might have to jerk this shit off. So, I jerked it off, boom, got off. So now, I'm laying down, I get a call from, Platinum. So I pick up, I'm like, yo, what up, my nigga? Platinum, like, yo, tell me why this nigga Duke now working on a diss track towards Flame. like, what? So, of course, Duke, he's live, working on a diss track towards Flame. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? So I'm like, alright. I said, let me, I said, I'm gonna chill a little bit and then, I'm gonna get back with you. So Platinum like, alright. So, Duke now putting out and working on a diss track, so he puts this track out, because Duke likes to record live and he does the songs, pretty quickly, it might take him a half hour to an hour, he knock it out. So now he got a corny ass, whack ass diss track towards Flame. So I ain't think nothing of it. So now it's the next day, so now I'm heading to the spot to go, get money. So, of course, Platinum there, little bro Platinum, so I'm like, yo, what up, Platinum? You like, what up? Shake hands with everybody, that's in the block, getting money. You know what I mean? So I see Flame, I'm laughing at Flame, I'm like, yo, I'm like, what up, niggas? So, I'm like, yeah, man, you see your man made a fucking song about you. So he was like, yeah, I saw that lame shit. You know what I'm saying? But I was like, you gotta admit, though, that cover was funny, you know what I mean? The way it don't say Flame, it says Flame. I was, whatever that shit was, I was like, yo, I'm laughing. So Flame, like, man, get out of here with that shit, Ray. It's like, so I'm like, yeah, I say, yeah, but that shit trash, I was like, don't take it serious, you know what I mean? It is what it is. He was like, nah, man, I'm gonna fucking kill that nigga. He keep playing with my name, fam. I was like, yeah, but I'm trying to calm Flame down. So now Platinum walking behind me with his phone in his hand laughing. So I'm like, what up? He was like, yo, your man Duke really wild. And I was like, yo, he put out another diss track. So I said about who? I was like, about Flame. He was like, nah, you. I said, me. This nigga Platinum gives me the phone. And it says Tony in a duffel belt. I'm like, what the fuck? We listen to this shit. Shit, you know what I mean? Nah, I ain't think nothing of it. I'm like, but now the nigga Duke's online really talking shit. Now he's disrespecting me. He disrespected Flame, disrespecting the whole crew. Telling certain personal bits. So I'm like, alright. So now I'm ringing the nigga phone. He not answering. Of course I'm not gonna leave no motherfucking voicemail for this nigga to use against me. So eventually he gets off live. I get on the phone with the nigga. I'm like, yo. I'm like, what the fuck is up with you? Why you? I'm like, you tripping, man. So now Flame is not Flame. Duke is yelling on the phone at me, talking shit about, yeah, niggas ain't loyal. That nigga's supposed to listen to me. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, first of all, I'm not your motherfucking kid. I'm a grown-ass man. I was like, you don't tell me nothing, my nigga. Just like you don't tell Flame nothing. I said, Flame his own man. I was like, we all men. What the fuck are you talking about? So now he's getting heated. So now Duke, once Duke gets into that Duke character, because there's two different Dukes. There's Duke, you know what I mean, the regular nigga that's cool and chilled, and there's Duke online who feels he's like the biggest cowboy gangster, right? So now he's getting to this YouTube/Instagram Duke. So he's like, man, the fuck you mean? I built this, I'm like, first of all, nigga, I was like, let's not forget, you ran the motherfucking Florida, nigga, when shit got thick. I stayed in your motherfucking city, nigga, and held it motherfucking down, nigga, and had it stood on your name and mine, nigga. I was like, I held you down. I said, Duke, don't get motherfucking disrespectful. You a little dude of delusional right now, my nigga. I was like, calm the fuck down. Duke like, man, fuck you, nigga. He was like, that's why I can't stand you light-skinned niggas. He was like, yeah, fuck you, fuck Flame. Da-da-da-da-da. He was like, man, he was like, both of y'all niggas just sucking my dick. I said, what? He said, you heard me. Both of you niggas can suck my dick. Now, that's one thing I don't play, and that's one thing a lot of motherfucking niggas don't play in New York. You know what I'm saying? A lot of niggas done lost their life, and a lot of niggas is in jail right now doing life for a motherfucker saying, for saying suck dick. I said, you said what? He repeated again. He was like, you heard me. You and Flame could both suck my dick. I said, I do. I was like, now this shit is going somewhere else. I said, nigga, when I see you, it's on motherfucking sight, you bitch-ass, faggot-ass nigga. So, Duke, he's still talking that, so I'm like, so where's your I'm like, yo, Flame, where's this nigga location? Flame said, I don't know. So now, cause now I got him on speaker, and Duke saying, yeah, y'all niggas don't know where I'm at, but I'ma pop out wherever. He was like, yeah, meet me at such and such Polarville. I'm like, I'm like, so now I'm walking to the car, Platinum's like, oh shit, so Platinum, he's hopping in the car. So I told Flame, let's go. So Flame gets to the passenger seat. Platinum gets it. I'm like, where you at? So now I'm driving around. Like, he was like, nah, not today, tomorrow. I'm like, oh, so now it's tomorrow. I was like, nah, big man. You talking all this shit about you holding down motherfucking Dallas and we pussy and suck dick and all this shit and light-skinned niggas is but I'm like, so show me I'm pussy, nigga. Where the fuck you at, nigga? He was like, nah, not today. I said, oh, now it's not today, you bitch ass nigga, you faggot ass nigga. Like I'm arguing with motherfucking Duke. So you like tomorrow? I'm like, yeah, alright, so then tomorrow, you bitch ass nigga. You faggot out like nigga, don't forget when your motherfucking son was getting his head knocked against the fucking wall by his stepfather. Who held you down and who stepped to that nigga? It was me, you faggot motherfucker. So now, Dookie's getting quiet because now he's remembering all the shit I did for him. So then I'm like, yeah, don't forget the time when you got jumped, nigga. Who came to the motherfucking spot and held it down with the AK in the trunk, nigga. The fuck you talking about? And he's like, yeah, whatever, fam. My name is my name. I'm like, yeah, shut the fuck up, nigga. Fuck your name, nigga. You's a bitch, nigga. So he's like, alright, we'll see. So now we got off the phone. So now, I circle back to the spot. Me, Platinum, and Flame get out the car. Flame like, yo, he was like, that nigga's a bitch. I'm like, yeah, man, fuck that nigga, yo. Fuck him on, so Platinum, he's laughing. Platinum's laughing at shit. He's like, yo, man. He said, that's why I never really fuck with that nigga. I always thought that nigga was a weirdo, blood. So I'm like, yeah. So now we chilling for the rest of the day. We hustling. So now I go back home and shit, Cross London's dead. Now, walk around, big fat ass. I always told London, if you're gonna be in my house, you gotta walk around even naked on a thong. So now, she's walking around naked, big ass, bouncing. So she like, yo, what's up with this nigga? Why is he, why is he, this with, being disrespectful? I'm like, what you mean? So now I guess, she tells me that this nigga, Duke, sent dick pics to her phone. I'm like, so I ain't want to see the bitch. I'm like, so this nigga sent you. I'm like, I'ma kill this nigga. So I have to text Flame, about, Duke sending pictures to my girl London, and I'm like, yo, this nigga really wild, and now I'm gonna fucking shoot this nigga in his fucking face. So, Flame just, text me back shaking my head. So I call Platinum. I'm like, yo, this bitch ass nigga Duke sent my girl London dick pics. Platinum bust out laughing like, yo. He was like, that nigga's wild. He was like, what the fuck's up with your man? I was like, I don't know. I was like, maybe, the Medicaid went out and he's not taking his medication, but this nigga bugging if he think he gonna be, being disrespecting my girl. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, alright. I was like, I'ma see this nigga. So now it's the next day. So now Duke is live and shit. And he's down at Clyde Park. I believe that's the name of the park. I think he's live at Clyde Park. He got a cowboy hat on. And, he got the blonde, one side of his hair is blonde and one side of the hair is black. One side of his beard is blonde, the other side is black. So whenever Duke does that, he about to, get stupid and do a lot of antics online, right? So now he's live at Clyde Park. I believe that's the name of the park, Clyde Park, where he got the big Connect 4. It's like a big ass Connect 4 thing in the park. So Duke's up there like, yeah, man, if you want to do some content, I'm charging this by the hour. Come down, play Connect 4, like a broke ass nigga. So I'm like, oh, he down at Clyde Park. So me, Platinum, and Flame, we all grip up, strap up. And we head down to Clyde Park. Now it took us a minute to get down there because, we had to, get together first because, Flame coming from where he coming from, Platinum coming from where, and then, me. So now we all ride down to Clyde Park. So we all park up, Now we walking around Clyde Park, So now, cause we seen that he was live playing Connect 4 with the chubby girl. But by the time we get to where he's at, he's not there. So we were looking around. He's not there. So that's when Flame said, you know what? He's like, Duke has a tendency to do shit live and then hop right in the car and get out of here. So there's a chance he either posted this shit while he's in the car now, or he did this real quick and got up out of there. He was like, 'cause that's what he did when we went to the gas station and when we went to Mo 3's grave site. This nigga would do something live, and as soon as he ended live, he'd run to the car. He's not gonna stay live while you get a chance to run up. So I'm like, alright. So now, as we walk into the car, Platinum looks on the phone. He's like, yo, this nigga's at the Wara Lee wall. He's at the Wara Lee shit. So when I look, he got a bunch of young niggas. He say they're his nephews. He said they at the Wara Lee war. So I'm like, yo, so bet. So now we all get in the cars. Now we driving the speed over to the Wara Lee shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He, paying homage to Wara Lee. No disrespect to Wara Lee. Salute. R.I.P. So now by the time we pull to the Wara Lee shit, there's nobody out there. You know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? So he not there. Cool. So it's like a cat and mouse game. Duke is playing with us. He's still talking shit online. Talking shit about me, Flame. You know what I mean? So I'm like, alright, cool. So now, he's, back at like I guess at a secret location where he's hiding at, you know what I mean? And, he's saying these are his nephews, just like young kids. Like, they've probably from the age of like maybe 15 to 18, you know what I mean? 15 and, they all look young. So they rapping and shit, rapping. Duke rapping with them, you know what I mean? Now, the young boys was good. Duke was trash. So they rapping and shit. Duke got the cowboy hat, blue bandana throwing up, gang signs and shit. So he rapping. He's spitting a couple bars, couple subliminal shots at me and at Flame. I'm listening, so I'm like, alright. So I ain't think nothing of it. So I'm like, damn, this nigga's not at Clyde Park. He ain't at the Raw Lee Merle. He's somewhere, rapping and shit. So we said, fuck it, we ain't even think nothing of it. But I'm like, I'm definitely gonna let this nigga pay for what he did, you know what I mean? For what he said about me. You know what I mean? You gotta answer to that. You know what I mean? Telling the man, suck your dick and all that, very disrespectful. So, nobody could get the drop on Duke, you know what I mean? Because he wasn't at Clyde Park. He ain't at the Warley shit. And we don't know where he's staying at, you know what I mean? Of course, he's not walking around Dallas. Like, despite all that shit Duke talk, he's not gonna walk around Dallas just willy-nilly like that, you know what I mean? Duke is pussy, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, alright. So it wasn't till, Duke went live again. So, Duke is live, but somebody else is holding the phone. They thought, you know what I mean? Duke's not holding the phone. It's one of them young boys, and there's a couple other niggas in there. And Duke is in the booth rapping and shit. So the nigga is holding the phone like, yeah, Duke in the booth rapping. He showed the other people in the studio, and it wasn't until he turned the phone all the way around, boom, I saw on the wall, it said Legacy Studios. Now that's the studio where Mo 3, of course, used to record at. Moneybag Yo, Jackboy Harlow, like mad people record at the studio. You know what I mean? Legacy Studios in Dallas. So I'm like, bingo, got it. So I told Platinum and Flame, come here. So I'm like, look. So, he and they shots, they see him in the booth. They see all the niggas in the studio. And then I said, look, and I pause it. I'm like, Legacy Studios. So he was like, oh, I know where that's at. So that's when Flame pulled up the address. So I'm like, yo, get a couple niggas together, because it's a couple of them in the studio. It was probably about 8 or 9 of them. So it's me, Platinum, Flame, we all strapped up. You know what I mean? Couple, niggas that, from New York that I got up there. So now, we about maybe like 12 deep, you know what I mean? So we got like three cars, you know what I mean? So I'm like, fuck it, let's roll out. So now we rolling, gripping, You know what I mean? I got my shit in my hand while I'm driving. You know, Platinum, you know me, he's cocking his shit back. You know, Flame, you know, he cocking his shit. All the New York nigga, he's gripped up. So now, as we driving, I get a call from Farago. So I'm like, yo. So Farago, like, yo, what's all this bullshit going on online with you and Duke? I'm like, yo, this nigga's being real disrespectful. I'm like, yo, this nigga Duke, you know, talking shit about me, talking shit about Flame. This nigga gonna tell me suck his dick and all this shit. You know, and he sent dick pics to my girl London. So Ness went on Farago like, oh God. He was like, yo, he was like, he's like, don't crash out, cause that's what they say in the South. They say don't crash out. In New York we say either wild out or dumb out. So he like, yo, don't crash out for Duke. He was like, he's not worth it. He was like, don't kill Duke and be sitting in jail. Cause he was like, Duke is a fucking idiot, man. He's a dumb motherfucker. He's not worth going to jail for. So I'm like, yo, Farago, this nigga told me suck it. I don't play that shit. So Farago said, man, listen. He was like, if you gonna punch him in the face, fight the nigga. He said, do that. He's like, fight the nigga. He said, but don't kill a nigga. He's like, I can't stand the motherfucker neither. But he's not worth going to jail for. Don't kill that nigga. He was like, just punch the nigga in the face or something. So I'm like, alright. I was like, you got it. So I got off the phone with Farago. I always listen to Farago because not only he the boss, he's older, plus he's from New York, so I respect him as an OG. So I'm like, yo, Farago told us not to kill this nigga. He said if I want to punch this nigga in the face or fight this nigga, do that, but don't kill the nigga. So that's when, Platinum, he like, what? So Flame, like, he was like, nah. I'm like, yo, I was like, chill. I was like, no. If Farago say, don't kill this nigga, we ain't gonna kill this nigga, but we all gonna go up there and fight niggas and get it in. So I was like, so we gonna just leave the guns in the car and we just gonna see. And he like, what? I was like, yo, Farago said he don't want us to kill this nigga, so we gonna leave the guns in the car. We just gonna go in there and see what's up. You know what I mean? If niggas wanna fight while we in there, we fight. We gonna leave like one or two niggas outside with guns. We good. So if they hear anything, they're running. So Flame reluctantly he's like, alright, fuck it. So when we get there, Flame was like, yo, he was like, man, I don't be leaving my shit in the car. He said, I'ma wait out here. He said, if I hear any gunshots or anything, I'ma run in. So Flame's like, yo, I'ma keep my shit on me. He was like, I'ma wait out here. Y'all could run in there. So I'm like, alright. So me, Platinum, about 7 other niggas, you know what I mean? We walk inside with no guns, cause Farago said don't kill this nigga. But Flame and like 2 of my New York niggas and another nigga that rolled with us, they outside with guns, you know what I mean? So they already got the instructions that they hear any gunshots or anything, run in. Alright, so me, Platinum, and couple of my niggas, we walk in there, no guns. So the receptionist at the desk at Legacy Studios was like, can I help you? We was like, nah, we good. We're looking for Duke. So, so they like, he's in such and such studio. So we just looking through different sessions. Walking through, looking in different sessions. We go in, there's one girl singing, and we're like, alright. They like, yeah, I'm like, nah. So then we go into another studio. Somebody's giving an interview. We're like, my bad. So now, when we go in this other studio, it's the dudes I seen in Duke fell in the booth. So when we walk in, so now Duke is rapping, but Duke don't see me because, he got his eyes closed and he's spitting rhymes. So I'm like, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'm here to see Duke. I'm like, yeah, I'm here to see Duke. So that's when the little niggas stand up. Couple other niggas stand up, but they ain't saying nothing. So now, the engineer, who's like a nerdy black guy, Duke stops, and then when he looked, he see me, Platinum, a bunch of niggas, standing in the studio. So then, Duke, he's smiling, he gets out. He's like, yeah, what's up, cuz, trying to put his hand out. That's when I punched the nigga in his face, boom, so all that shit Duke talking about, he got punched in the face because he tried to break up a fight, bullshit, I punched it. So I sit on it, boom, I punched him in his face. So now everybody's fighting. So now we in the studio fighting, so Platinum fighting, one of the little niggas, that was with Duke. Platinum, fighting one of my niggas fighting. So now everybody fighting, it's a melee. So now me and Duke tussling, you know what I mean? I caught him in his face again. Boom, that's when his face really swelled up. I'm stronger than Duke because I work out. So now me and Duke tussling, you know what I mean? His cowboy hat them fell off, I'm fighting, everybody's fighting. It's like a melee. And for some reason, while me and Duke is like tussling, I see one of my niggas push Duke's nephew into the war. Soon as Duke's nephew back hit the wall, boom, the lights go out because he hit the switch. So now niggas is fighting in the dark. Niggas fighting in the dark, tussling, platinum. Everybody's fighting in the dark, just fighting. Next thing you know, I hear one of Duke's homeboys say, "Yo, Duke, where the strap? Yo, Duke, where the strap, sir? Where the gun at? So in the back of my head, I'm like, yo, if he get to that gun, we fucking dead. So I'm like, fuck. So that's when, I spit the razor out my mouth on some New York shit, like in New York, niggas even gonna keep a razor blade in their mouth or something, on some Rikers Island shit, you know what I mean? So I spit the razor out my mouth. I got the swinging the razor. So I grab. So I'm thinking it's Duke. I grab it, and I swipe the razor down. Niggas scream, you know what I mean? Now the whole time, so I'm thinking it's Duke, but the way the niggas scream, I knew it wasn't Duke, so I'm like, fuck. So now niggas are still fighting in the dark. Now the only light that's in the room is on somebody's cell phone that's sitting on the trackboard, and every time they get a message or notification, that's when the light on their phone would come on. That'd be the little light. You can see niggas fighting. So now the niggas screaming, oh, somebody cut me, he's screaming, somebody cut me. So now the door to the studio open. That's when the little bit of light come in. The nigga runs out holding his arm. It wasn't Duke, so I'm like, where the fuck Duke at? So now, as I can see the light, the man runs out bleeding from his arm, holding his arm, and now Duke runs behind. I'm like, bitch ass nigga. So now, niggas are still fighting. Somehow I get to the wall, cut the light on, niggas fight. I'm like, Duke just ran. So now, security, everybody comes in, break it out. So I'm like, watch out, move. So now we all push our way, we run outside. So the nigga's screaming, holding his arm. So by this time they call the police, and now we outside again. So now my niggas gripped up, you know what I mean? They're like, yo. So now, we hear the police sirens coming, you know what I mean? We hear the police coming, so my niggas, they stashed their guns in the car. I took the little razor blade, I tossed that shit, small little razor blade that I had under my tongue. I tossed that shit. So now the police run up. They grabbing niggas, patting niggas down. You know what I mean? My niggas stay in the car, you know what I mean? Standing by the car. You know what I mean? They ain't got nothing on them, so they grab me, platinum, you know what I mean? Everybody, so they got everybody lined up, Duke still, yelling and screaming, acting stupid. Police trying to calm him down and shit. So now the one nigga, he holding his arm, screaming. So they trying to apply pressure to the nigga's arm, you know what I mean? Cause, he got sliced, from his shoulder to his arm, elbow and shit, you know what I mean? So he bleeding and shit, hole in his arm, So they asked him who cut him. He said he don't know, cause, it was dark in the room, when niggas was fighting. So they grabbing, you know what I mean? So they checking for knives and, they ain't find nothing, you know what I mean? So they like, yo, so he ain't know who cut him. So being that he ain't know who cut him, they like, well, it was really nothing they could do. So after a while, they put homie in the ambulance. You know what I mean? Duke calmed down, you know what I mean? Duke got, his eyes, swelled up. So he was like, yo, who hit you? Duke was like, nobody, you know what I mean? So, Duke like, nobody, like, get off me. So, he ain't want no medical attention. So they was like, they don't know what's going on. So we was standing there for a minute, so they started letting niggas go and shit. So, Duke and his nephews is standing on one side. You know what I mean? Me, Platinum, my niggas, we standing on the other, so the cops just started telling niggas, get out of here, leave. So I hops in the car, me and my niggas, and, just to be petty, I ain't gonna lie, just to be petty, I put on trapboyfreddy out, Freddy B, you know what I mean? That motherfucking, Southside track by, Freddy about trapboyfreddy, I told that shit up all the way loud. And you know what I mean? And then that's when I started, I put my middle finger up at Duke, and Duke was like, put up his movie, and I'm like, fuck y'all, and then, I sped off, and my niggas, followed behind me, and after that, what I mean, Duke goes online, with the eye all swelled up, talking about, yeah, he had to break, cause somebody asked him about his eye, and then, I'm watching the nigga, and the nigga lies and said, oh, a guy was beating up on a girl, and, I broke it up, and I got hypnotized, knowing I punched him dead in his motherfucking face, but, you're lucky I ain't, kill his motherfucking ass, you know what I'm saying, but, yeah, that's how, the beef went between me and motherfucking Duke Faro. That bitch-ass nigga, fuck that nigga, fuck Duke Faro. And it is what it is, and it's still on sight, wherever I see you, bitch.